Fighting evil by moonlight, winning love by daylight, never running from a real fight, she is the one named Sailor Moon. Yes, Sailor Moon. Sailor Moon is a love story about two people, a princess from the moon and a prince of the earth. As you have seen in plenty LPs that I've done a whole month devoted to Sailor Moon, and that was done last year, showcasing all the games in the Sailor Moon universe, or most of the games that I've played in the Sailor Moon universe. In any case, Sailor Moon was made by Naoko Takeuchi, and having a interesting theme to it, it adds to the fact that it is Super Sentai-ish, Bishoujo, and has some some themes of Yuri and I mean only just a short bit of it. And what else can I say about Sailor Moon? Pretty much, Sailor Moon revolutionized female anime. Yeah, I said female anime. Sailor Moon depicted in her civilian form as a clumsy crybaby of a schoolgirl named Usagi, and she tries to deal with her life the best way she can with her boyfriend Mamoru and her friends Rei, Amy, Makoto, and Minako, as well as her cat Luna. Now, of course, there have been four different arcs in the Sailor Moon series, not counting Pretty Soldier Sailor Moon. And of course, they went like this: Sailor Moon, Bishoujo Senshi Seramyu, the first one, season one, was about the story of the Earth and the Moon and what happened between them and Queen Beryl, who had a thing for Endymion, or namely the future king of the Earth, and future king of the Earth, presently Prince of Earth. I never did understand how he was Prince, but anyway, that was never told, never explained. And of course, Usagi, who happened to be the Princess of the Moon. Because if you really think about it, all their names are nature bound. Like Usagi meaning rabbit, a moon rabbit. Um, a ray of fire, Amy of water, Makoto of wind, Minako of love. That sort of thing. And the inners, as they were called, were brought together, and technically they swore to uphold justice in the name of their planets, namely that of the moon, for the most part. For what happened in the first arc of the series, it was basically about Queen Beryl trying to take over the Earth, and by using Mamoru's inners to help try to do that, or rather attempt to do that, they need the power of the silver crystal, or as it was called in another story, the mystic silver crystal. I think. But anyway, let's not let's not let's not try and not mention the fact that she failed, and in the end, peace was restored and life moved on. Sailor Moon R told the story of how Chibi Usa joined and fell into Usagi's life, and how she was hunted down by the Dark Moon family. And they consisted of Rubius, Emerald, Sapphire, and their leader Diamond, who was pretty much tricked into saying that they wanted to rule the future kingdom of the world, which would be Crystal Tokyo. Because really, everything starts in the Tokyo Tower. I'm not going to mention the movies because the movies they kind of have the same sort of different story, but it all comes out the same way. So there's not much I can tell you about that. S, of course. I'm sorry if it doesn't. I'm sorry if it doesn't sound right, but I'm just giving a short summary about what each of them was about. S was pretty much about the inners and the outers, I believe. When the outers came, that's when it changed everything, because there was no longer 5, but it became 9. 10 if you count Shibuya. And with that, then we face an even more sinister plot to once again take over the world, or destroy it, or do something to it. And namely, I believe an alien menace was trying to do something by, of course, taking energy and whatnot, life force. It was all about that. It was just about taking life force. That's what pretty much the whole series was about, taking life force. Sailor Moon R, S, Super S, and Stars. It was all about that. I think it's 5 seasons then. There was Sailor Moon, R, S, Super S, and Stars. That was 5 seasons. But throughout the 5 seasons, Sailor Moon just got better and stronger, and the stories just kept getting more interesting to watch and more doable to watch because, well, think about it. It was a girls' anime. It was pretty much the most beautiful, touching anime I've ever seen, because for some reason that anime actually made me cry. I kid you not. I think I cried around the Stars season. At least in the first part, in the first arc of the story in Stars, I started crying. But in any case, Sailor Moon is one of those animes that you have to see for yourself. It is an experience beyond all recognition. Whether you watch the anime one or you've watched the live version, which is called Pretty Soldier Sailor Moon, it goes without saying that most of the story is just about the fact that it has a planetary mythos surrounding it, because you have the Moon, Mars, Jupiter, Mercury, Venus, Uranus, um, Neptune, Pluto, and Saturn. All the planets collide. Even Earth. Because remember, Endymion, he's from Earth. But in any case, what else I wanted to point out about Sailor Moon is that there was that like I said, there were so many. It was just a boom of Sailor Moon goodness that just came out. Like for instance, there have been plenty of Sailor Moon games for the Super Famicom. One for the Mega Drive, one for the PlayStation, and one for the Sega Saturn. And what you're seeing is just that. It was called Bishoujo Senshi Seramyu Super S Various Emotion. It was a fighting game. It was somewhat of a 3D fighting game. It wasn't all that good, but hey, it was Sailor Moon, so gotta make do with it, right? Now, another thing you need to know is that Sailor Moon, of course, had manga, and the manga, I believe, is still being translated. I'm not sure if it's out yet. I'm not certain. I will have to check. And even if it was that, I'd like to read it because I read manga. And trust me, I never read a Sailor Moon manga, so I might as well go read it. Now, is it bad that a guy like me actually watches something like this? No. Because when it came out, it was just basically known as Sailor Moon over here. It wasn't called Pretty Soldier Sailor Moon. It was just called Sailor Moon. I mean, even with all the main seasons coming out, you can you can bet that the only one we haven't seen that was never brought out here was Sailor Stars. And Sailor Stars was pretty. But as for the way it was, when it got around to Super S, things just got dark. I mean, any enemy now just want Sailor Moon's blood. So it was quite interesting how an anime so beautiful as this went from beautiful, light, to just downright grim and dark. And in the end, what happened? It was a happy ending. Tears were formed, tears were shed, blood was spilled, and you get the whole idea. Now, another thing I want to share from personal experience about this series is the fact that out of many people, I did a fanfic about Sailor Moon and Seramyu. When I say Seramyu, I mean Seramyu. That is Seramyu. Seramyu. That's how they say it, Seramyu. So we got Sailor Moon and got Seramyu. And in the story, it was about basically what would happen if two worlds were to combine after one incident. The story was called Bishoujo Senshi Seramyu G Flight to Eternity, or Kiko no Ien. So that's what it was called. It's called Bishoujo Senshi Seramyu G Kiko no Ien. That means Flight to Eternity. Anyway, it was about it was a big what if. What if Sailor Moon simply turned evil? What would happen if Sailor Moon turned evil, and who would stop her from becoming evil. That was pretty much the whole story. And it was about the dub universe and the sub universe, considering that they were alternate realities of each other. I can't tell you the whole story, but it's not about it's pretty interesting how we wrote it up because yes, we meaning me and my girlfriend Twin Beam Mark II. We actually she thought up the story, I wrote it down. I wish I had kept it around because I would have shown you what it looked like. However, if it's ever found, read it sometime. It's pretty good. But anyway, Sailor Moon by Naoko Takeuchi. It has also spawned a side series called Codename Seravyu, which was also a manga, and even that there have been fan-made video games based off that of the Beats of Rage emulator, I believe, and it's called Codename Seravyu. There are plenty of sites that really want to bring back Sailor Moon. They petition anything about Sailor Moon, like the return of the anime or a new video game based off Sailor Moon. You name it, it's there. I believe the site is called Support Our Sailors. So check that out if you are so interested. But in any case, Sailor Moon is widely respected as one of the best anime of all time as far as that goes. I had to agree because it's a touching story, and plus, well, like I said before, Sailor Moon is something to be experienced more than to be talked about. And if you've seen my LP slash walkthrough of Sailor Moon and their story, yeah, you realize it's that damn good, and it's that damn long, and it can be that damn tiring to play. But I digress, because, well, it's Sailor Moon. Why would I want to stop for that? So next time, you will find out why anime has the most strangest of all creators of all time and why we enjoy it so much. So until then, I have been PI7, the Tenkaichi of Gaming and the Otaku of Otaku. And I asked the question, do you think you know anime? Because if you don't, you just got schooled. Take care, everybody.